Hey y'all, it's Becca here. I wanted to make a live video tonight because earlier today I mentioned that I had a really exciting, new, fun family Christmas activity that also ties into getting more coats to kids. So, as you all know, last year, I should go back. In 2019 and 2020 combined, we did a Utah Kids Coat Drive, and combined we gave away just under 1,100 coats. And it felt really good to be a part of that and to help make that happen, but it was all of us who made that happen. Part of the coat drive was that donations and going and purchasing, and occasionally I would purchase a coat where I haven't checked the zipper, so it wouldn't go up, or it was broken, or like some of the teeth were out, or sometimes I would get donated coats who had similar problems. So I was very particular about what kind of coats went to the kids who needed them. Ideally for me is I wanted it to be in really good shape. If it couldn't be in good shape, I wanted it to at least last 2 seasons was my goal. So that was the quality control I used. If a broken zipper, that's obviously a quality control issue, so I put those to the side. Yesterday, I spent most of my day mending the leftover coats from last year and this year. There were about 15 heavy coats off the top of my head. Might be off, that number might be off either way by about 2. And then I also had, I think, 10 leftover lightweight coats. So, the last few weeks I've actually started doing the mending on some of the smaller mending jobs. And I started putting those up as I got them done. But yesterday I finished the rest of them. And I put them up, and my goal is to keep them up for an hour, which at 8 will be an hour, and then anybody that wanted a chance to come and get one absolutely could. After an hour, I take down all the ads, and I have this idea. Now the reason I want to do this idea is because some of you know that one thing that was frustrating to me during this year, and this is partly because of COVID, is that I had a lot less help. A lot of more people either wanted to be involved but couldn't, or maybe their head just wasn't there this time. And that's okay. But I also realized part of the problem is me. I made a process that made it very difficult to transfer to others in an easy way. And I ended up having to cut it short because this year I have a full-time job. Last year I didn't, and so I had a lot more time. And I also needed to cut it short because I noticed that my relationship with my daughter was suffering. And I wanted to improve that, and I think that we have really improved that. But it's also taught me a lot about myself, about I don't have to save the world, basically, at least not alone. And if I can't get the help, I need to go back and look at my processes, which this was definitely the case for this. I need to simplify them, and I need to make them more accessible for other people. And so that's what I've tried to do. So last year I worked with a volunteer who is also somebody who lived in Section 8 housing, and she helped me with getting donated coats. So she kind of did this whole other side, like mini project in addition to mine. But her and I chatted over coffee one day, and she told me one of the things that she had been doing prior to meeting me and learning about what I'm doing with this coat drive. And one of the things that she was doing was anytime that she would find a spare coat, whether it was heavy or light, she, in the Section 8 housing complex that she lives in, she would put the coat out by like the basketball courts or the playground and just leave them out so that kids knew that they could come and get them, which I thought was such a great idea. And so we are going to be doing pretty much that with this next thing, okay? So I have left the coats up that were all mended for almost 24 hours now. 8 will be 24 hours. I will take those off at 8, and here's what I'm going to be doing with the rest of them. And this is the part that I need your help with. A lot of you have heard of geocaching. Geocaching is where somebody goes out, it can be indoor or outdoor, somebody goes out somewhere, they hide like a little trinket or a gift or something, and then on a map they mark where that is, and then it's kind of like a puzzle, like treasure hunt kind of thing, where people get to go and search and try to find that item. So this is going to be kind of similar, except this is going to be different in that we don't want to necessarily hide the coats. We want to make them very obvious. these to people. So, and another thing too, geocaching uses a lot of private property. I would much rather this project, this community initiative, whatever you want to call it, stays on public property, unless you have express permission of the landlord. To me, that's a non-negotiable. So, I have about 11 leftover coats. Here they are. Got them right here. Yeah. And these are the ones that have not been picked up yet. They've been online for about 24 hours. So what you're going to need, this is a great family project, and it's a great Christmas project because it's giving to people, and I know a lot of families like to do that around the holidays. So with these coats, what I'm going to do, and what I would encourage you guys to do, is the following process. This will, so first I'm going to tell you what you're going to need. You're going to need one 12 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. So this is an example of what I use. It's a little thicker than paper. It just is a little more durable for a tag. Okay, you're going to need a Sharpie, any color you want. I chose red. You're going to need scissors to cut the cardstock. And then the last thing, which most of you probably don't have, is you're going to need a tagging gun. So a lot of people know that I have owned several businesses. One of those businesses was reselling vintage clothing. I love vintage clothing, but anyway, I obviously needed to attach tags to them. I got this handy dandy little tool off of Amazon. It was $10, and if you search for garment tagging gun, you will find dozens of these that are all right around $10 from Amazon. You can also buy them in store. I believe Walmart has one of these, but I think Walmart's is like 25. So I really recommend buying it online. Again, it's a tagging gun. In the video below, in the comment section, I will post a link to a tagging gun so you can see what it looks like, what it's called, and you can do your own search or you can buy that one. So that is what you need. So that's all the supplies. Pretty easy, right? And obviously you need coats. Now, so what you're looking at so far for the cost of this, you can buy a piece of cardstock. You can buy them either in a packet or you can buy just one piece. Any craft store. You can also buy them at Walmart, at Target. They're in several places. Once you have that, and then you have this, so far you've spent about $10.50. Pretty inexpensive. And not only that, but now you have a tagging gun, which is great for returns. If you need to return an article of clothing to a store that you didn't wear, it's good to be able to attach those tags back on, save the associated a little bit of time to do so. Okay, so I realize most of you do not have a tagging gun at this point. However, I wanted to show you how it works anyway, because it's fairly simple and uncomplicated. It does not require batteries. It does not require a cord. It works just because that's how it's made. In your kit that you will buy, this is included in the $10, you will get several of these, at least a few hundred, if not 1,000 or so. Once you have these, and once you have this, you will see the top part. It's almost always on the top part, no matter what product you buy, where it has that little insert area. So I want to show you these parts, okay, because this is what's going to attach the tags to the clothing. It has two sides. One side is the side that you can easily tear apart, like that. It also bends really easily. The other side is stiff. This side, it does not bend easily. I mean, it obviously still bends because it's plastic, but it's very obvious to see which size you're working with. So when you're loading the cartridge of tags into the tag gun, you want to put the stiff side, the side that doesn't bend as easily and that is all connected. It looks very symmetrical. I mean, it's definitely not perfectly symmetrical, but you get the idea. So you take this top area, you see that shape right there. You're gonna put this in, and yours might have a safety. This one has a safety on it. Most of mine have not, but if it does have a safety, you wanna make sure it's turned up, okay? So, because otherwise it's not gonna stick in. So what you wanna do is just like that, you take the stiff end of the tags, and you just insert it in, just very gently, and you should hear a small little click. If you don't, you can test to see if it's all the way in, because if it's in, you won't be able to pull it out easily, not without a lot of effort, okay? So see how I can do that? That means it's in. So once it's in, you're ready to start using it. So I want to show you how to start tagging it, but in a sec, first I want to show you what the tags are going to look like. These are the tags I made. Again, I made 12 of these on one 12 by 12 inch piece of cardstock. I did that with my ruler, so I guess you will need a ruler also. get a ruler. Most of us can get these. If not, I know dollar store sells them. And what I did is I just measured out and drew 12 6" by 2" pieces of cardstock. Once I did that, I cut them all out and it made this. So what I did on each of those is there are 2 things I want on each of these tags. This is just from my experience. You're obviously welcome to do it your own way too. This was a community initiative that doesn't have a lot of rules, okay? Except to pay legal laws. But what I did is I want to make it very clear. I chose red because that way people could see. This is free. I also, because what we're doing, I don't know of anything else like this out there, I decided to create a hashtag, the one that hasn't been used previously, at least that I could find on my search on Instagram and Facebook, that people can go to if they're curious. This will save us time from having to explain why we're giving these for free, because hopefully, as more people start to do this, they will start posting what they're doing, since most of us do that anyway with social media, and they'll tag it, Coatcache. So again, Coatcache. It's a play on geocache, obviously, but that should help people have access to what we're doing, what this is, why there's just a free coat laying around outside. What you're gonna do with this, you're gonna take the tag gun, okay? I'm gonna get a coat up here that we can attach to. So this is one of the coats that nobody has picked up yet, that was donated and that I fixed. So what you're gonna do first is you're gonna take the tag, you're gonna take it to the side facing that you want to be out, and you're gonna stick that. You're gonna, basically, you wanna give enough room where it's not gonna tear easily, like in the wind or whatever. So you do not wanna get it so close to the edge that it will easily rip. I like to do it just right, I don't know, maybe 3/4 to an inch down. So like that, and then you're just gonna push it in like that, okay? First step with using a tag gun. Second step is you find a place on the garment that is easy to tag. And it's also an area of the tag where, you know, obviously this puts a little bit of a hole in the garment. That's usually not a problem for clothing, because most clothing is, and most fabric is very porous. But still, just in case, I like to do this in a place that's maybe not as obvious. So on a coat, for instance, an easy place to do this would be, well, you know, when you open the zipper, it would be right up next to the zipper. It would be a great place to do that. So when you do that, I also like to find a seam if possible. That way, if there is a tear caused by this, it's fairly easy to mend, even for people that don't know how to sew. What you're gonna do, you're gonna be very careful because it's a needle and it's sharp. You're gonna push through the garment, okay? Just like that. So now you see, has the tag, and then I added the garment. I found it in a non-obvious place if there does end up being a hole. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull this, okay? So I'm gonna make sure I fully compress it before decompressing it. I'm gonna slowly pull that out, and that of course didn't work. So let me try that again. Make sure I have that all the way in. Occasionally these, because they are not electrical, do jam. If you do need to pull it out, what I always do is I just give it a tough little pull, like that. You know, kind of bend it a little bit if it does jam. Hopefully, I think that got everything out. You can also remove these needles. Most of these will come with replacement needles too, as I think I mentioned. Okay, so I'm gonna take that part off. You can also clip these, make them a little smaller. Gonna clip so that there's not an empty spot right there. Take that off. So again, you want it to be like that. You want to have several in a row. Again, I'm gonna reinsert it right here. Okay. Make sure it's pulled, that I can hold it like that. I can. Okay, make sure it's in good. Again, I'm gonna try this. So easy to fix if it does jam on you, which these will because they're cheap, but they work. So again, find that hole in there. There, that one went through. So you see how it went through when I pressed down. I'm still holding it down. We want to make sure it went all the way through that tag. You want to slowly pull it out, and then you will see this just kind of detaches. So now I'm going to do that with the tag on it, but I wanted to make sure that that worked. You can put that out in a bit. So again, this, here you have the gun. Put the tag facing the gun with the direction you want it to lay out. find a place on the coat where it can go. Carefully press it through. Make sure that the hole on the needle is all the way through. Compress, decompress. Okay, and there you go. Pretty cool, huh? So what you do then is you just do that with any coats that you have found in your home that you no longer need or want or have outgrown. And that's the first step to our coat caching, okay? So see how easy that is to read too? It's right on the front. It's very accessible for anybody who wants it to be. You might be curious about what this is. It's a coat, somebody left a coat, and they can see it's free, okay? So another place you can do it is, that is obvious if you don't want it to look like the zipper if you're worried about it snagging or something. Another place that is not obvious that people sometimes do it is on the back collar, okay? So that way, again, this is something where if somebody sees it left over at a playground or a basketball court, they're gonna be like, oh, what is that? They're gonna grab it and see, free, Coatcache, okay? So that's all the work that is required from you as far as like a craft or whatever. Here's the next part. This is the fun activity part that I think would be so fun to do with a family. I've obviously never done it either. I'm gonna go out tonight and see how it works. I think it'll go great and fast. But I'm gonna go to Draper City Park. I am gonna leave them around Draper City Park, okay? A great thing about coats is that they also make things like tying around a tree branch really easy, right? Like, or tying around a swing set really easy. Another thing I want to encourage you guys, I want it to be creative and fun too to do this. So for instance, on a coat you have, this is a size 7. And this is likely a boy is going to wear this. That's just been my experience. I'm not trying to be gender specific, but that's just been my experience that most girls at age 7 are not interested in this coat. This will likely be a boy who is interested in this coat. Where would a 7-year-old boy play at the park? That's the fun part. And that's, I think, the part that would really be a lot of fun with your family, to be creative, figure it out, leave them in fun places. Obviously, we want them in obvious places, but leave them in fun places. Where do you think a 7-year-old boy would play? Where, you know, if I had a 24-month coat, I would probably put that coat next to the swing set where it has like those safety swing sets so that the mom could see. One thing I found when I was doing the coat drive is we were able to reach a lot of people, but most of the people that we reached were either parents who were unashamed to ask for help, which is, you know, that's ideal. If you need help, it's so much better to ask, especially when you need help with your kids. But there are some people who have been socially conditioned to not ask for help even though they need it. What I like about this project is that it gets those people, the people that I can't reach, that you can't reach. It gets the people that really need these coats but are afraid or don't want to inconvenience somebody. I've heard it all, but I love this because this is a very private way for them to get what they need. It's fun for you, and it's easy. It requires you to go through your closet. It takes about, 3 minutes per closet to go through. I just went through mine today. It took me 3 minutes to donate 20 items. And you don't even have to go through everything, just go through your used coats. So even like your coat closet, just go through that. That takes 3 minutes. This, obviously, I just showed you how it is. You can make these whatever they say, as long as they say free and Coatcache on them. And then you get your family involved, you do the tagging. That took me less than a minute to do one. I have 11 of these, so probably will take me about 3 to 4 minutes to tag the rest of them. And then, if I had my family with me, what I would do is I would go through each age with my daughter, and I would talk to her about it. I'd be like, so what do 11-year-olds like to do? You know, I have 1, 10, 12 girls. What coat? So that could, you know, obviously kids of any age can fit in a 10, 12 girl coat, depending on their body shape and size. But, you know, just based on a 10, 12 girl coat, what does this kid do at the park? What do they like to do? What's fun for them? Get creative. It also doesn't have to be a park. I've heard things like skateboard parks, basketball courts. One area that I think I'm going to put a few is Main Street in Salt Lake City. I'm just going to hang some around trees, you know, just like a lot of the people who live on the streets do. But this way it's an easy, accessible way for somebody to get what they need without necessarily asking for it. And that's going to help us get to those kids who have parents who maybe are afraid or unable to ask, or maybe don't even realize that there's a problem. Big thing for me in this project is it's about reaching those kids. It's not about parents. It's never been about the parents. It's never been about what the parents do, if I like them, if I don't like them. It's always been about the kids, because every kid deserves to feel warm in the winter when it's cold. And a lot of these kids don't have that. A lot of kids do play at the park though, for instance. So I will probably spend some time at parks in the next coming days as I, as I hide these out in plain sight. And from what I understand, I'm hopeful that this will get some traction. I will post what happens, my activity online. I hope you guys will too, and you guys will tag Coatcache so that those who do get the coats, they want to look it up online, we'll be able to see exactly what we are doing. And maybe it'll come to, maybe somebody who doesn't need the coat will see it. They'll be able to look up Coatcache and say, oh, okay, so this is like meant for somebody who really needs it, and they won't keep the coat. Or they might be inspired to join in. Like, wouldn't that be cool too? So anyway, I'm way excited about this project. I feel like I have taken the time the last month to really work through where my process went wrong, where I ended up being the only person that could do it. What I have done is created a very simple process that is a fun activity for a family night, for Christmas, that you will be done in an hour, max, with the whole thing. There's really no reason to do that. We all have unused or outgrown coats in our closet, so I encourage y'all to do that. Spend 3 to 5 minutes going through your coat closet, pull those out, get a tagging gun, spend $10 on a tagging gun that you can keep forever. This one I've had for 3 or 4 years, and do this it could become a seasonal holiday tradition for your family. And on top of that, it gets coats to those that we cannot reach, that I cannot reach. And that means the world to me, because that means those kids are warm. So anyway, that's all I've got. Y'all have a great night, and thanks for watching. Bye.